Houston, Arizona. Conference really starts to heat up here in mid-January. Great to have you with us, everybody. Welcome to Washington. Dave O'Brien, my partner, Doris Burke. Some news. UConn head coach Jim Calhoun will not be on the sideline today. He will not coach his team because of an intestinal problem. We'll have more on that a little bit later. UConn, a team looking for an identity, trying to get back into that national consciousness, and a victory today over a team in the top 10 would certainly help.
Coach Calhoun would say this team is better and more talented than it thinks it is, but it needs a win like this to change its mindset about itself and believe it is a player on the national stage.
Look at Star Watch now and a pair of 7-footers who are really going to clog that lane both sides.
Hashim Thabit, younger and not as polished as Mr. Hibbert on the offensive end, but he is a menace on the defensive end. And Hibbert, they will run that offense through him. He has got great polish on that end.
Let's give you the starting lineups now. And for Connecticut, 11-3, a much improved shooting team, as Doris had mentioned, since last year's woeful numbers. In the backcourt, Jerome Dyson averages 15 points per game, but A.J. Price has become the Huskies' go-to scorer. In the front court, 6'9" sophomore Stanley Robinson joins the 7'3" Hashim Thabit, a shot-blocking machine. For Georgetown now, the Hoyas' only defeat came at Memphis. That was right before Christmas. In the backcourt, they start Jonathan Wallace, Jesse Sapp, and a talented high school All-American, the freshman Austin Freeman. And up front, it's DeJuan Summers. He goes with Hibbert. Their numbers are just about identical, 12 points and 6 rebounds. Hibbert is certainly the big star for 12-1 Georgetown. George Blaney, the longtime lieutenant, always at the elbow of Jim Calhoun, but he's the head man today. He takes over for the ailing head coach. It's not the first time, obviously, as you can see by the numbers, that Jim Calhoun has been under the weather, but he's been at it for 22 years at Connecticut. He was ill all of last night and up against John Thompson III in his 4th season at Georgetown, a Final Four appearance in 2007. So great to have you with us. Connecticut and Georgetown. That brings back great memories of a terrific rivalry. John Cal, Jim Haney, Mike Stewart, today's officials. Georgetown in the grays, Connecticut in the blues, and we are underway as the Hoyas control the opening tip.
It'll be interesting to see how Connecticut reacts. When Jim Calhoun is on the sideline, you never lack for competitive intensity and hunger to win games. It's something he's questioned of his team, not their ability, their hunger.
He has said before, I wish they wanted it as badly as I do. Hibbert on the low block, but he's traveling with it. So a quick turnover for Georgetown. A very different style, personality-wise, between Blaney and Calhoun. Someone said it couldn't be more different. Yeah,
George is a little bit quieter in nature, as involved as coach in terms of the X's and O's and on-court preparation.
Georgetown looking for the early steal, but a foul with 19:27 to play here in the first half.
So a little trapping action and a little contact. That is okay for Connecticut. The guy you do not want to have get in any foul trouble on either side is Hibbert or Hashim Thabit.
Boy, look at him attack Dyson, and they tie him up. Possession error will have it on this end of the court, but the Hoyas swarming him. Sapp came over very quickly, the junior out of New York.
You'll see two primary defenses as you see Jim Haney talking to Summers, and he takes a little pop from Dyson. You're going to see a couple things. You'll see man-to-man, certainly, and these are two quality defensive teams. You'll also see a zone, and they'll trap out of both of those on occasion. Just a different wrinkle, unexpected at times.
Dyson sizes up a long three, and it's off the front iron. Wallace handling the rebound, and here come the Hoyas. The 58th all-time meeting between these two schools. Georgetown leads the all-time series, but it's tight, 30-27. Sapp on the drive, back out to Hibbert. Doesn't take many long shots like that. That was just inside the 3. But inside their offense, they tell him that's all right. Wallace reigns a 3, and that's going to go up over the basket support.
Hibbert is a guy who's only taken one three-point attempt, but you're right. He's not discouraged from face-up jump shots. This is an equal opportunity offense. There's tremendous balance and depth on this Georgetown team.
Entering today with 100 starts under his belt for Georgetown. These guys very used to playing with each other. Summers leaning in. He'll pick up the foul. DeJuan Summers, who just got hit in the High with that elbow, picks up the foul.
People may wonder, how is Georgetown's Final Four team from a year ago different this year? Well, Jeff Green, a top 5 pick and the reigning Big East Defensive Player of the Year, gone. He's in the NBA.
Hey, we're just looking for someone to score, but Georgetown too tough defensively. Here's Sapp on the attack, but to the other side of the rim and could not get it to go. Both sides having difficulty getting anything through the rim.
Well, these are two of the better defensive teams. I've talked about it, both in the top 8 in field goal percentage defense. Georgetown will put you through the meat grinder. They are going to make you work to score points.
Long bomb, and that three is going to go to Juan Summers. Named to the All-Big East rookie team last year. Good-looking sophomore. Connecticut trying to attack quickly, and the foul. Just a couple of minutes in, 3-0 Georgetown in the early lead. And the foul will go against Hibbert as he picks up his first.
I think the 2 guards from Georgetown, their ability, this is their first score. Summers, a terrific offensive player, just a sophomore. He's got a wealth of ability, can drain threes, will rebound it a bit for you. But the guards from Connecticut, Price and Dyson. Dyson's got to score. Price has got to make excellent decisions. The key word, I think, for Connecticut today, poise. Play aggressively, but play smart.
Price coming off a career-high 25 in UConn's win over St. John's, and he makes 1 of 2. Wallace back off to the freshman, Austin Freeman. Swatted away, and it's the first one of the day. Could be the first of many by Thabit. They're still talking about that game he had against Notre Dame about 2 weeks ago with 10 block shots.
Yeah, he is a menace, guys. A lot of NBA guys would like him because he protects that orange, that rim. Anything that comes around there, he will contest it with great ferocity.
It tied a school record, by the way, that he already had shared with Daniel Marshall and Emeka Okafor. So he is awfully tough defensively. Hibbert into Sapp. Nicely run play by the Hoyas for 2.
What do you notice there? Connecticut comes with a double, but Hibbert doesn't speed up his game. He's poised. He waits for cutters. He's an unselfish guy.
Dyson on the outside looking in. Jeff Adrian on a back down. Trying to go to work inside. And from 8 feet, that won't fall. Thabit came over the back. No foul there, but it goes back over to the Hoyas.
The point of emphasis this week for John Thompson III in practice. Defensive rebounding. Over the last 5 games, they've given up 17.5 boards. So they make them shoot over the top, but then you've got to finish the job. Look at that position by Hibbert.
Hibbert getting way inside and right underneath the beat for 2. A quick start for the Hoyas. Not so for UConn. They're 0 for 3 from the field.
Great recognition by Hibbert. The beat will play behind, as all Connecticut posts will do.
Nearly threw it away. Tapped over to Robinson. Summers with the rebound. It's a misnomer to say the Hoyas won't push the tempo. If it's there, in transition, they will get out and run. They'll fire it up quickly as well, as Austin Freeman does, and Blaney needs a timeout. Georgetown with the early 8-point lead, and they're playing suffocating defense.
They will run. You're absolutely right. Solid defense leads to transition opportunities, and the Hoyas looking strong at home.
Well, the Hoyas certainly got their wake-up call out in front 9-1 over Connecticut. Hoyas are the #1 shooting team in the country at almost 53%.
Well, I think the point you made is a good one. I think this is a team, as you see, Hibbert working on the low block. I mean, if you allow him to get this deep, he just simply backs the young Thabit down on the box, and he's going to get good shot opportunities. One thing John Thompson III said, yes, you know what? If we make the good decisions at a faster pace, I'm comfortable with us playing that way. You had 2 terrific freshmen in Austin Freeman and Chris Wright. Both have the ability to get in the open floor. So I think he's content to play that way as long as they're smart with it, Dave.
That's right. Wright, the other McDonald's All-American out of St. John's College High School in Maryland. So Georgetown very, very deep. But, you know, you go back to the Hibbert almost 3-point attempt. He had 1 foot on the line. That is not a bad shot in Thompson's offense if it's there, if it's the best decision to make on that possession.
It was an uncontested look, and that's what the coach would tell you. Let's pass up a slightly contested shot for an open shot. But all of his players are well drilled. Everybody has ball skills. They can handle, they can pass, regardless of position.
UConn reeling a little bit in the opening minutes. Here's Adrian, floats it up there and rolls it in. A basket the Huskies desperately needed.
And he's the guy that has to get it. I mean, he's the upperclassman here. He's one of the most experienced players, and leadership was one of the things Coach Calhoun had expected from Jeff Adrian this year.
But if it's going to take 3.5 minutes between every field goal, this game could be over very quickly. That's how long it took for Connecticut to finally hit one. Hibbert hands off for Wallace, his long one, in and out. And a big rebound by Stanley Robinson. The Huskies really like playing inside this arena. They're 10-3 inside the Verizon Center, formerly the MCI Center. So under any name, they like playing here. In particular, Jim Calhoun's Huskies have been outstanding in the NCAA tournament, where they are 5-1 all time. So only some of those victories have come against the Hoyas.
Coach Calhoun's record in the NCAA is incredible. He's just been so good.
Summers off the front iron. The beat with the board. And a little recovery now for the Huskies of George Blaney today. Coach Calhoun under the weather. Holding foul, 15:24 to play here in the first half. And we have a timeout on the court. Georgetown opening up a 9-3 lead over their rival in the Big East. The Verizon Center here in Washington, all packed in today. Georgetown with a 6-point lead over UConn and Doris Burke. Let's head off to the coach's chalkboard here.
Well, the Princeton offense, John Thompson III has 2 Hall of Fame influences. His father certainly, but remember he played and coached with Pete Carrill. And one of the ways they hurt you is the back door. It's a timing play. That bottom guy is going to come up, make a little backdoor cut.
Georgetown forcing the turnover again. The pass by Sapp is picked off, however, by Jerome Dyson as he was on that baseline. And if the beat is tied up, they're going to call that a block. A possession arrow will go the other way. Let's go back to that chalkboard.
Yeah, this is a timing play, and it's a backdoor cut one of the ways. The guy on the bottom comes out. The person with the basketball dribbles at the guy he wants to back cut. A little step toward the ball, and then a back cut to the rim. And every time you watch Georgetown, they get about 6 or 8 points off this. They've tried it a couple times. Connecticut's defended it well. We'll see how it goes from here.
Well, it's been ugly for UConn. 9 possessions, 3 points. Ewing Jr. into the ball game, and he gives it up on the bounce pass stolen away. Here's A.J. Price, the guy they're really going to look to build off offensively today. He finds the beat. He'll slam it down. Good look by A.J. Price to find the big fella.
Much better read. Now, what Georgetown does is they hedge hard outside, and they misdirect the dribbler. You've got to back dribble and look up. As soon as you get your head up, somebody should be open.
Wallace. Head down. Vernon Macklin gets it back. The hook shot. Had a good look coming off his hand. But the quick whistle underneath, and the foul will go against the Georgetown Hoyas. And Georgetown now with 5 team fouls. Connecticut does not have one. Juwan Summers with a couple of personals for the Hoyas.
Let's see if they run a similar type play, because Georgetown wants to hedge big when that ball is out front.
Dyson. Got it. Difficult shot, but Jerome Dyson, UConn's top scorer, knocks it down, and now it's Connecticut on a 6-0 run. And they have closed the gap to 2.
Yeah, if Dyson gets going, you can have a lot of things happen with him on the offensive end. He's a great guy to build around when he's aggressive and scoring the basketball.
Just had an amazing game of thievery as well against St. John's. He had 9 steals to tie a school record. So he can create some offense for himself. Wallace is left open for 3, and that's going to rattle in for him.
Tell you what, if you get uncontested shots, he's the guy who shoots 50% from deep, and he never takes a bad shot.
So Freeman, Wallace, Hibbert, Summers, Sapp, they have all scored. And the Georgetown Hoyas getting very good balance. Price to the baseline. The kick out. Dyson got airborne. Price to drive again. Difficult shot, and he's fouled on the play. 13:21 to go in the opening half from the Verizon Center.
Well, the initial booing that you're hearing, folks, is because Jerome Dyson got away with an open court foul. And this is the foul that gets the next boo, but it was really the one prior when there would have been a Georgetown layup had Dyson not held on to Jonathan Wallace.
So Georgetown with all the fouls to this point to send A.J. Price to the line. The junior out of Amityville, New York. And a 68% foul shooter. The beat coming back onto the court. And Hibbert comes back on as well, so the 2 7-footers have returned.
And A.J. Price, a guy who is tremendously different in terms of his on-court persona, his confidence level, leads the Big East in assists per game with 6, a capable scorer from the lead guard spot as well.
And Connecticut will also bring Doug Wiggins in, the 6'1 sophomore, who is a three-point threat. Price to get a little bit of a blow here. Connecticut will go 8, maybe 9 deep in the contest. Wallace bounces for Freeman. He'll launch it. Off target. Suddenly it's Georgetown cooling down. The best shooting team in the country. Here's Wiggins. Yes. The pull-up pop for 2.
Couple things on that exchange. That 2-2-1 pressure. What it did, it didn't get a steal. It didn't really slow him down. It actually sped him up. So a quick shot opportunity, a rare one from Georgetown. And you go down the other end and score. So a good exchange for Connecticut.
Freeman. Nice look for Wallace. And they're going to count that basket. No block this time for Hashim Thabit. It'll be goaltending. He does get up in a hurry.
I'll tell you what happens. This is the block, but what happens is when the guy who has the ball passes it, the defender takes a breath for like a second. You can't do that against Georgetown because they dive to the rim.
Open in the corner, Wiggins. He got another one, this time a 3. So he is quickly giving the Huskies a lift off the bench.
And here's a guy who comes off the bench and provides energy. He's all out all the time. The one guy you never have to question his competitive heart and desire is Wiggins.
Sophomore out of East Hartford, Connecticut. Wallace inside, lost it. And that one's tipped away. And Connecticut will get it back here. John Wallace, Georgetown's all-time leading three-point man. He was honored before the game as a 1,000-point scorer. He did that earlier this season. Hibbert running it out high. Here's Freeman. Ewing Jr. Yes, a sweet-looking 3 there from Patrick Ewing Jr.
So their screening action was so good.
Shredding everybody down the lane. Dyson couldn't get that one to roll in, however. Dyson so far pretty quiet first half. Connecticut needing him to heat up. There's a bump and a foul. Some derisive applause here aimed at today's officials, Cal Haney and Stewart. That's Connecticut's first foul. Now let's check in with Reese Davis.
The number 1 team in the nation. Roy Williams actually fell in his office, had stitches on his head, had to participate in the game with that.
Yeah, he has had that issue with vertigo and some dizziness over the last couple of years.
Yes, he has. This particular incident, according to the papers in Carolina, though, having to do with a wire he tripped on that was hooked up to a VCR in his office.
So everything's out to get Roy at this point. Ewing Jr. reach in foul. And 2 quick ones here on UConn. It'll be Dyson's second.
Now, notable for Georgetown through the first 8+ minutes of this basketball game is they have the advantage on the backboards, 10-5, and they have yet to give up an offensive rebound, which is a key indicator. They've given up about 9 more field goal attempts than their opponent because they're not defensively rebounding. So they've started doing it today.
Inbounds kick. That's Jeremiah Rivers inbounding for the Georgetown Hoyas. Doc Rivers' kid is a pretty good shooter. Patrick Ewing Jr. on the court as well. And John Thompson III doing the coaching.
Connecticut goes zone.
Rivers trying to flip it up, deflected away from him. Here's Wiggins now to attack. He's dangerous outside that 3-point arc. Price wiggles his way in, banks it off the glass.
Both of their guards can get off the dribble and test your ability on the back line. And Price off the dribble either direction, terrific.
And Price has had a rough road at UConn, but he appears to have rebounded. The long bomb is going to be off the iron, but the rebound tipped up, and then twice now Patrick Ewing Jr. getting in there with his fingertips.
How about the second jump? Great timing on both.
Wiggins running the point. Here's Price. They're looking for him to heat up.
This is a guy, I think, Stanley Robinson, who's got the physical abilities to dominate games, but for too long of stretches, he is absent.
Yes, 6'9", and the ability to go outside beyond that three-point arc on occasion. Shot clock down to 5. Price backing away. Long shot, and fouled on it as well by Ewing Jr. with a shot clock down to 3 when he let it fly.
I'll tell you what, that's a rare mental mistake from somebody on Georgetown's team. This is a very well-drilled, well-coached team, and again, meat grinder on the defensive end. John Thompson, the third team, will grind you for the full shot clock.
So Price to get 3 shots. He did not play for 2 years after missing the 2005 season with that life-threatening condition that caused bleeding on his brain. And then he was suspended for 2006 for his role in a computer theft on campus. He is over the physical ailments. He was recently cleared by a doctor. They scanned his brain again, and everything was just A-okay.
He said that after Laptop Gate, he said, I do not want my legacy at Connecticut. The last thing people to remember me by is that situation. And he has done everything Coach Calhoun has asked him. He's not a shy guy. He said earlier in the year, I'm not going to open my mouth and have any bold proclamations. Well, that went away in a hurry.
He has 8 points here in the first half. He's averaging 14. Summers draws the double team. Here's Sapp out high and in midcourt.
Well, that 2-2-1, a better handle there by Georgetown. They don't rush a shot. Let's see how they attack it.
Connecticut has fought back here to tie it. Here's Summers. Yes! Long distance 3 for DeJuan Summers.
As a team, #1 in the Big East in field goal percentage. Why? Quality shots.
Look at Hibbert out on Price, the big man guarding the guard. Here's Adrian to get that one to go. Jeff Adrian with the bucket. He came in averaging 14 and 9, and one of the better rebounders certainly in the conference.
He better make that shot. Coach Calhoun might come out of the locker room if he misses that shot.
Jim Calhoun sick today. He is under the weather. Here's Sapp. His 3 rolls off, and Connecticut to push the tempo. Wiggins has a real jet. Great stop by Sapp on the defensive end, but he gave it back. The long one is a 2, and that will count as Wiggins got it back and he stuck it.
Well, that's the kind of play Sapp can make, though. He leads his team in assists. He leads it in turnovers. Glue guy does a lot of different things.
23-22 Connecticut. Big comeback here as Ewing Jr. gets it. Nothing but net. Right to the bottom for Patrick Ewing Jr., the senior out of Marietta, Georgia.
Well, he's already reached what he averages for a game, 6 points. He has been terrific early. In fact, he's exceeded what he typically does.
Adrian, nice jump inside, but it's Hibbert. Even though Adrian went to the deck, everybody thought there was a foul on that one. Quick feed underneath to Ewing Jr. He's fouled by Price. Hibbert gets credit for the block and no foul down there.
Wow. This is an amazing ability for him to come over in defensive help. He is not a dominant rebounder, but look how far he comes. Wow.
There was no foul there.
That is all ball. You can have some contact if you get basketball, but I agree. I think it's a good no call.
That is a spectacular defensive play by Roy Hibbert, the All-America candidate, to deny what looked to be a sure basket by Adrian. Ewing Jr. misfires. Jonathan Wallace coming back on for John Thompson.
John Cal had the perfect angle with which to view that play.
And John Thompson Sr. in the crowd here today, and watching Patrick Ewing Jr. at the line. Very different game from his dad, of course. One of the great players ever. Ewing with 9 points in 6.5 minutes.
And now Georgetown goes 2-3. In an ideal world, Connecticut would like to see a middle-of-the-floor touch like that.
A scrappy play by Wallace, and the foul will go against Connecticut. And we'll go against Stanley Robinson on the region. Tonight on ESPN, it's Big 12 College Hoops as Brandon Rush and company and the Kansas Jayhawks take on Nebraska. Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV. Tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern on ESPN.
The absence of Chalmers, Sharon Collins has been solid. That is a talented Kansas basketball team.
Big weekend for us and a week of impact coming up. Tremendous games up and down the schedule all next week. What a great catch by Ewing Jr. Can't finish. Gets it back and he'll draw the foul as Gavin Edwards leaped right into him. 7:51 to play here in the first half. Georgetown and Connecticut, and it's tightened up, a 3-point game here at the Verizon Center. And the Hoyas under the watchful eyes of two John Thompsons, of course. And John Thompson III now in his 4th year as the Georgetown head coach, taking them to the Final Four for the first time since his dad did it in 1985 last year.
Yeah, he talked a little bit about the pressure. He said it really comes from within. It comes from wanting to represent this institution well. He said, I've been John Thompson's son my whole life. He said the pressure, at least some of it, really came at Princeton when he had to replace the legend Pete Carrill. This is a guy who's very comfortable with who he is, and he's his own man, John Thompson III.
Says, you know, I've been John Thompson's son my whole life, and I am a different man. I'm a different guy, but I greatly appreciate everything that my father is and what he was as a head coach and is as a human being. They are very, very different. I mean, his father, very socially conscious in so many ways. They talk about John Thompson III being a laser beam, so detail-oriented about his basketball team and getting them to win another national championship.
I'll tell you what they have in common. Great intellect. John Thompson III, a graduate of Princeton. His wife, Monica, also a graduate. Little intellectual firepower in the Thompson household.
The throwback here today is another Ewing is starring for a John Thompson. Patrick Ewing Jr. has scored 11 points in just 8 minutes of work here on the bench at the moment. 1-1 time now. Pretty early, too. 7:36 to play here in the first half, and it's A.J. Price to the line. Talk about the terrific game that he had. 25 points against St. John's. He had 23 against Memphis, against a team that some believe is the best team in America.
Well, and here's the thing about Connecticut. There are pieces. You've got 2 quality guards, both of whom can get 20. You've got a defensive menace in Thabit. You need more out of Robinson, and you need solid play from the 4 spot. But I think there's potential for this Connecticut team to reassert itself on the national stage. And with all the injuries that have plagued the Big East Conference, it has shaken up the power structure. How it all shakes out as this season goes on is going to be fascinating.
A.J. Price now 8 out of 9 at the foul line. Boston Freeman, the first DeMatha product to play at Georgetown in 20 years. The prep powerhouse in Maryland, and a big contributor for the Hoyas in his first season. That one's going to roll in. 3-looking jump shot from DeJuan Summers. Good touch on the drive, and he's got 8.
He is a difficult check. He can go off the dribble. He could shoot from long range. So you've got to play him straight up. Have a hand up and contest, but be prepared for the drive.
Price off the screen. Dumps into the corner for Wiggins. Left open, and he buries it. Doug Wiggins for 3.
Nice offense right there. You screen the zone just like you approach or screen a man-to-man. You get a little bit of an overload and an uncontested jump shot.
He has not been a big factor offensively to the Huskies until today. 10 points today. Sapp thought about the 3. Nice bounce for Summers to draw that foul. And the personal will go against the Beats. 30-28, Georgetown by 2. Thabit with his first.
How about that timing on the pass? You've got to thread the needle.
So it'll be Summers to the line. He's a 70% foul shooter. He was a starter on last year's 30-7 Final Four team. So he's part of a tested, experienced team. In this roster, the starting lineup today, Doris, boasted 312 collegiate starts for Georgetown. That's pretty amazing.
Well, talent and experience at the highest level. I don't know that I'd say they're better yet without Jeff Green. It's hard to lose a top 5 pick in the NBA draft, a guy who had no holes in his game. But certainly, look at this, the balance that they have. 3 double-digit scores, a couple more averaging just underneath double digits. You can rest guys, and Wallace as a lead man at the point, just so fundamentally sound.
Price thought about one from about 27 feet inside. He's fouled. Sapp with the personal, 6:19 to go in the half. And it getting a little bit chippy. It has inside on the interior from time to time.
Now this is the foul, and Connecticut's last couple of possessions against this zone have been very poised. And again, that's their word for the day. They're screening that zone and allowing Price to get by guys on the dribble.
And Price had been 8 out of 9 at the foul line. Connecticut coming in 11-3, 2-1 in the conference. They have knocked off Seton Hall and St. John's. They shot the ball better against Notre Dame. They were only 39%. They may have beaten the Irish too.
Yeah, they were in that game 21 points down in the first half, methodically fought their way back and actually took the lead, which usually when you take a lead, you can win that game after coming from so far back.
Well, today they're shooting 56%. Hibbert out high. Sapp looking inside, shot clock at 15. Hibbert on the block, and he's fouled from behind. Gavin Edwards, a moment he'd love to have back.
Yeah, he has played better of late. He's starting to eat up Curtis Kelly's minutes. But that time, Connecticut on the perimeter was sound defensively. Their guards were guarding the back cut. That's a silly one. Let them catch and allow your teammates to assist you.
So 1-1 time for Hibbert, who knocked UConn around pretty good in their last meeting last year at 18 points and 12 rebounds.
Boy, what a transformation for this young man. What a role model. Guy who really was somewhat raw coming in. John Thompson, the elder, called him the big stiff.
Price with the miss. Sapp with the rebound. And the Hoyas to try and push the tempo here. Georgetown on top 32-29. George Blaney today doing the coaching. This has happened from time to time when Jim Calhoun could not because of illness. Remember, of course, he conquered prostate cancer. And today, an issue with an intestinal virus of some kind. And Jim Calhoun would have done anything possible to be on that sideline today up against an old rival like Georgetown, but just couldn't do it physically. So, you know, he has to be feeling just awful. Hibbert, nice move inside with the left hand. It's tipped up and in. That was Freeman coming down the lane. He'll get credit for the bucket.
You see Georgetown, he's got that hook in either direction. He's pretty good with both hands, Hibbert, and a nice follow.
Adrian hooks himself for 2.
Good, solid move. I'll tell you what Jeff has done is when he scored today, he's made quick moves and he's made assertive moves, and he hasn't been intimidated by the size of Hibbert, and that's how you have to approach it.
It took Connecticut a little bit of time to get comfortable today. They were down 9-1, and it had the earmarks of a game that could be a blowout in the first half, but anything but. Freeman trying to wriggle free. Can't get it on the tough angle. Stolen away by Ewing Jr., who's had an outstanding first half for the Hoyas. He has been their star here in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, drastically different from his father. You make a great point. Their game's so totally different.
And a timeout, a quick one here by John Thompson III. Georgetown's lead at 3 here with about 4.5 minutes to go in the half. And Big Monday means college basketball on ESPN. It begins with a doubleheader. First at 7 Eastern. Catch a Big East showdown as Roy Hibbert leads these Hoyas up against Sam Young and the Pittsburgh Panthers. And then at 9 Eastern, the Oklahoma Sooners will face Big 12 rival Kansas, led by Brandon Rush. We have a spectacular week of hoops coming your way, and Big Monday will launch it, presented by Bud Light.
Well, Roy Hibbert will have a different challenge against DeJuan Blair when they get to Pittsburgh on Monday night. Tonight, he's matching a guy with similar size, and his passing ability, his feel for this offense, incredible for a guy his size. They go one-on-one defense. He simply backs the younger at the beat down, and then that block, which was sensational. He had to cover some ground. This is a guy who you would ideally, if he's on the defensive end, get him away from the rim and involve his feet. But he was impressive on his ability to cover ground on that replay.
Georgetown with the ball here, trying to enlarge this lead of 34-31. A foul on the deck as Hibbert was about to turn to his right and go to the basket. The foul will go against Adrian as he picks up the personal here. And it'll be Hibbert back to the line. And this has been an issue for Georgetown. It is an area of concern. Foul shooting, they are not good. Hibbert's at 52%. As a team, just 61% as that one falls in for him.
Yeah, there's no question. It hurt them in the Memphis game. And these are free opportunities. 60% as a team will not. Tell you what, against quality competition, that can cost you games.
This deep into the season, as Hibbert knocks down both, can you get better at that as a team? Are you're going to become tournament time?
Yeah, you know, I think sometimes it becomes contagious. I don't necessarily think there are bad free throw shooters. You've got some quality shooters in Wallace and Summers.
They actually shot it pretty well today at the line. 7 out of 9 the Hoyas have. Here's Price, his 3. Too strong. The rebound torn down by the Hoyas. Here's Rivers out of the backcourt with it. And a 5-point lead for Georgetown.
Great rebound by Ewing. And you could tell he has taken his coach's mantra to heart. Be aggressive. Pursue the basketball. Make a decision that you will rebound it.
He started the first 10 games of the year as Rivers knocks down the 2-pointer. Talking about Patrick Ewing Jr. John Thompson took him out of the lineup, the starting lineup after 10 games. And apparently it didn't bother Ewing Jr. in the least. He could care less who started. They are not a numbers-conscious team. Very, very unselfish.
Yeah, you have to love their approach. It is about winning games at the end of the day.
Austrie bounces for Price. Here's Kelly. Harassed, not fouled as well. And Georgetown does such a good job of that. Defending without fouling, even on those plays on the interior.
Yeah, good, solid defense. Move your feet, contest shots, but do not put your opponent on the free throw line. Ewing
Jr. off the fake. Hibbert hands off for Rivers. Shot clock at 14 for Georgetown. Sapp got Hibbert, he laid it in. Very patient.
Yeah, Georgetown's going to test you in a couple ways, physically and mentally. George Blaney going to get a timeout and resettle his troops.
Timeout with 2:47 to go in the half, and a bit of a run now for Georgetown. UConn was hanging around inside 3. It's back up to 9 suddenly.
Well, the mental challenges, they're going to be patient on the offensive end, and you've got to be committed to guarding for the full 35. That one was put up with about 10 seconds left on the shot clock.
So a mini run that Blaney tries to stem a 6-0 run here for the Hoyas. As they try to go to 13-1 and remain unbeaten in the conference. They would be 3-0 with a victory here today. Patrick Ewing Jr. with a really fine first half.
Yeah, he is committed to the glass today. This a little bit of a bonus. A guy who averages 6 points per game from 3. And Hibbert does that so well. That dribble handoff screen for his teammates. The steal in transition. Inactivity guy. Defend, rebound.
11 points, 4 rebounds for him. So the former starter coming off the bench doesn't mind it, and he's contributing big time.
Here comes that zone again. Stanley Robinson, 1 shot attempt. Good aggressive move right there.
Robinson.
He's got to be heard from, Dave. He simply has got to be more of a factor consistently for Connecticut.
Doris's first points of the ball game, and coming very late in the first half. And he came in averaging 12 points per game. Hibbert wanting the ball here. Thabit right behind him. The rolling hook for 2.
He has worked so hard, paid his dues over the course of the summer against the likes of Mutombo. Grew up idolizing Mutombo morning. Went to nearby Georgetown Prep and just paid the dues.
He used to sneak inside the gym on the Georgetown campus and play against those guys, and they beat him up, he said. Price in and out with the 3, but he learned a ton, and he learned what it would take to get to the next level. The jump shot good by Doug Wiggins, who's really kept the Huskies hanging around here in the first half with 13.
Instant offense off the bench. A guy who has at times, including last season, struggled a bit with his role where he fit.
42-36 cross court. Freeman off the fake. They want Hibbert again, working on the beats. And a foul with 1:19 to go in the first half. Thabit picking up the personal. And we have a timeout. Georgetown looking to go to the half in control here at the Verizon Center. Thank you, Reese Davis, the hardest working man in show business. He looks sharper than Reese when he's working that hard. 42-36 Georgetown. Connecticut wondering if they have a run left in them right before the half to overtake the Hoyas, as Hibbert is too strong with the foul shot. Georgetown is a team that obviously everybody does, but they really are way more comfortable being out in front.
Well, they can manage the clock with that Princeton offense, really spread you out, make you guard. It's difficult to make a comeback on them, so they are better from front. They don't, because they don't pressure a lot and turn you over like his father's teams did, then it's a little bit harder for them to generate that fast offense.
Adrian triple teamed and fouled by Rivers on the reach. Just under a minute to go in the half. Well, tonight on ESPN, it's Big 12 college hoops. Brandon Rush and company. That's Kansas battling Nebraska. Saturday prime time by DirecTV tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern on ESPN.
Glad we've had a chance to watch Brandon Rush play a few years in college. All the discussion when he arrived at Kansas, he's going to be a one-and-done guy. But Bill Self said from the outset he was a guy who wanted to enjoy some time on a college campus. He appears completely healed from that knee injury, and what a talent Brandon Rush is.
Double bonus here for Connecticut, so 2 for Adrian. Smooth at the line. Usually not, only 56%. He has 8 points in the first half. It's a 4-point game.
Yeah, if you're Connecticut on the road, you want to be in a position to win as you get underneath 4 in the second half.
Sapp with a hard drive to his right, laid up, blocked away, nicely done by Stanley Robinson, coming out of nowhere across that lane to swat at it. So a good stop for the Huskies, one they need to give them some momentum heading to the break.
6 straight years as the nation's best shot blocking team. They are again, and you can tell that gives them a chance to get some offense going.
That's under Jim Calhoun, not coaching them today. He's not on the sidelines because he is ill. He did make the trip here, but he's inside the locker room and just feeling awful. Price with the jump pass. Here's the shot by Robinson. Off the side of that iron, the Hoyas with a chance for a heave. Rivers at midcourt, and that'll do it. We are at halftime here at the Verizon Center, and Georgetown has that lead they're so tough with, 42-38. Patrick Ewing Jr. has been the star for the Hoyas with 11 points and 5 rebounds. Each team shot 50% in the first half. Now let's join Reese Davis, Jay Billis, Hubert Davis, and Digger Phelps in the studio for the UPS Halftime Report. Verizon Center in Washington, D.C. Georgetown with a 4-point lead. They've had a couple of different 9-point leads. Connecticut has been chipping away because off the bench, Doug Wiggins has been tremendous with 13 points in 12 minutes. Pretty good effort by the sub, but another sub for Georgetown has countered that. That's Patrick Ewing Jr.
He is an activity guy, an unexpected source of offense in that first half. You expect this gentleman to defend and to rebound and to make quality decisions. Well, he got out of the gates early, and I thought gave him some unexpected but necessary offense against a very good defensive team. And he also is a guy who can step in and make some steals. Now, Wiggins comes off the bench. He's a guy who a year ago was frustrated, confused about his role, didn't know where he fit. Well, he understands where he fits this year. He's just playing the game, and when guys do that, they're much better off.
A look at the stat sheet now. Wiggins with 13 points. A.J. Price, the star, with 11. He's been very good at the foul line. Patrick Ewing Jr. has chipped in on the glass work as well with 5 rebounds. And one stat, you're talking about Connecticut coming up with 1 offensive rebound. Why is that important?
Well, it's been a point of emphasis in Georgetown's practices. Over the last 5 games, they've given up 17 offensive boards, resulting in 9 more shot attempts for their opponents. They did a much better job. Amazing. Practice carries over to the game. Does a coach love that?
On the topic of coaches, as mentioned, George Blaney is coaching UConn today. And even though Jim Calhoun, the Hall of Famer, is in the building in the locker room because he took ill before the game. In fact, it was last night, an intestinal problem. He is unable to coach them. Price launches the 3, and it's around and out. Hibbert with the first rebound of the second half.
They're not accustomed to George Blaney's presence. Remember, with about 14-plus minutes to go in the St. John's game on Tuesday, Coach Calhoun departed that game as well.
One of those games, however, if UConn can overcome the loss of a terrific coach and overcome a top-8 opponent, it kind of gets them back on the map. They've receded from that picture a little bit in the last couple of years.
They have, since Jim Calhoun took over, been a major player on the national stage. You're right. A year ago, first time in 20 years they don't make the postseason. They need a big-time win to change their perception of themselves. They're in this one right now.
'Adrian into the lane. Rolls it, gets it. Difficult shot for Jeff Adrian, but that's a big body. The 6'7" junior for two.
And again, continuing the theme to what was effective for him in the first half. Quick moves. Do not be intimidated by the size inside of Georgetown. He's the only guy in the front court giving them scoring.
He has 10. Wallace outside the arc, one of the best three-point shooters around. Freeman will launch it, though, and nothing but net for the youngster, Austin Freeman. He's 44% out there.
It doesn't appear that guy gets rattled.
Oh, great backdoor move. Look at the move there. However, for Dyson, on the reverse to lay it in.
These are two quality guards, and guard play is so important in college basketball. They combined Dyson and Price for 24 points in the first half.
Hibbert muscling his way in. Left it short. Robinson with the rebound. A three-pointer for the Huskies can tie this thing up. They'll look for two, and Thabits.
Solid job. You know, if you're John Thompson III, the first thing you have got to think about when playing Connecticut is transition defense. He addressed it yesterday in practice.
And Price now with 7 assists after the terrific look to Hasheem Thabits. And Connecticut has pulled to within 1. They keep battling back today. Summers stops, rejected, knocked right back in his face by Adrian. And now he's on the line. Summers will turn it over. And Connecticut can take the early second half lead on this possession.
Now, Thabit runs the floor. They call this, folks, a rim run. And you get a 7-footer to run right to that rim. There is no checking that.
7-3 from Tanzania. What a story, his journey here to the United States. Connecticut shooting the ball largely because of passes like that. Very well, 54%. Price outside. And now Dyson, who just made that acrobatic basket moments ago. Shot clock down to 11. Adrian thought about going hard to that rim. Here's the jump shot by Price. And a rebound comes out to Hibbert. The Hoyas, number 8 in the country. Connecticut unranked. Georgetown at 12-1. Their only loss to Memphis. Hibbert low. Banks it up and in. They'll count the basket. He'll go to the line. Thabit walking away shaking his head, but Hibbert going after the three-point play.
One of the things you want a post player to do on the catch is go right to the rim. Have your shoulder pointing at the rim. He puts his shoulder into the chest of Thabit and scores it.
That is 3 on Hasheem Thabit. So he is going to have to leave the court just at the point it looked like UConn had all the momentum.
And that is a major loss. A shot-blocking phenom protects the rim.
Hibbert good at the line, at least today. 11 points and 4 rebounds for the All-America candidate. A key play there to stem the tide. The jump in by Dyson, but he's fouled before the shot. With 16:45 to go here in the second half. Georgetown leading at 48-44. Wallace with the personal.
The guards from Connecticut, with their ability to go off their bounce, will test your ability on the back line. Your help defenders have got to rotate and cut their path. The contact on that one coming outside.
Dyson cross court. Here's Price. Zips it back out. Long one by Dyson. They moved it around very well, but nothing in the end. That one rolls away. And Connecticut will retain possession here.
You know what made that possession possible? Mandeldub was working so hard for inside position that Georgetown was not able to get the board. Tell you what, sometimes it won't show up, and that was a play by Mandeldub that won't show up.
Jonathan Mandeldub, who doesn't play that frequently. Here's Adrian off the front of the rim. Georgetown getting that mowed back, perhaps. On the baseline, Summers, the kick out, beautifully done. The shot won't go for Sapp. Rebound tipped, and here come the Huskies. Down by 4 at the Verizon Center. Connecticut having trouble with the bright lights. They've lost 8 in a row and 12 out of 13 in games played on ESPN or another network. Playing much better today. Mandeldub down low, and a foul with 15:48 to go in the second half. Timeout on the court, shaping up into a pretty good battle here in the Big East. And here inside the Verizon Center, 48-44 Georgetown with a 4-point advantage.
Both of these teams came in amongst the best in the country. In fact, top 10 in field goal percentage defense. Look at their percentages today. And these have come back a little bit here in the first few minutes of the second half. They were both at 50% at the half shooting.
Jonathan Mandeldove, who has been sharp in the opening minutes for him here in the second half, coming off the bench for George Blaney. Doing the coaching today for the ailing Jim Calhoun, with just a dad in the crowd here today. Doc Rivers watching his son Jeremiah Rivers, who plays for Georgetown. The Celtics have the best record in the NBA, are in town tonight.
Yeah, only 4 losses, a win against the Nets last night.
Wallace bringing it across here for the Hoyas.
And Connecticut matching up. They put a little pressure in the backcourt and now go man-to-man.
Shot clock down to 13 for Georgetown. Macklin looking for someone to make a move. Freeman. Shot clock down to 5. And a whistle. And stop the clock at 15:19 to go.
You know what we haven't seen today? We have not seen John Thompson's team be really effective with that backdoor cut. Let's credit Connecticut's defense. They have been focused, taking that away.
Dyson has to leave the court now. Jerome Dyson with 3 personals. But they bring Wiggins back on. He has 13 points. The Beat also has 3. Hasheem Thabeet. So Connecticut getting into a little bit of foul trouble with a ton of time left.
What you're hoping is Wiggins can have a similar second half to his first with Dyson in trouble.
Ewing Jr. off the fake. Wallace feeding inside. Macklin swoops to his right. Went for the glass and missed. Now Wiggins was instant offense in the opening 20 minutes. Price calling for someone to make a move here. Here's Robinson.
I'd almost want to see Stanley Robinson take 2 or 3 bad shots. Yeah, he's got the physical capabilities at times to dominate and has shown that, but he disappears.
Price with a quick move, but then he stumbled, and they're going to call Ewing Jr. with the foul on a kick. That's going to be his 3rd.
Let's see. Yeah, they went knee to knee, and that's going to hurt for a bit. Price.
So A.J. Price will have to shake it off after taking that tumble.
Yeah, he's trying to walk around here before he goes over there to get the inbound.
And Dyson with those 3 will come on. Price has to kind of hobble off here. He is still not ready to get back into the flow.
Yeah, so Dyson as a sophomore has got to be smart. Understand your value. Do not commit a foul here.
So this will be a real test for Jerome Dyson, the sophomore out of Rockville, Maryland.
2-3 zone. Again, get an inside touch.
Adrian off his fingertips, the fall away. That rolls off the iron. Wiggins there again. Boy, he's been everywhere in this contest. Here's Robinson. Another tough play by Wiggins in the corner. Tried to save it, could not. Back to Georgetown. And a foul here with 14:04 left.
And that's a foul. I believe they get Dyson. So
yep, it is. Dyson picks up his 4th personal. So just seconds after he mentioned he had to play smart, here's the foul.
Ooh, and that's a tough one. And believe us, we get the benefit of the second look there. That looked like a really good challenge without fouling.
Sapp rolls in the foul shot. He's at 75% at the line. Price seems like he's all right now after taking a knee knock, and he's back on. So fouls beginning to become an issue for UConn.
You want to get some separation here if you're Georgetown. If you can get separation and put a little pressure on a Connecticut team that doubts its ability to win in this kind of situation.
Yeah, the scoring is certainly settled down on both sides. Adrian off the bounce, and he will go to the line to shoot 2. So Jeff Adrian will be at the stripe, just 56% there. Hey, tonight on ESPN, it's Big 12 College Hoops. Brandon Rush, Mario Chalmers, and Kansas taking on Nebraska. Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV tonight at 9 o'clock on ESPN.
Anxious to see Bill Self's team perform in the postseason. They have all the physical ability that they can. They've taken some knocks.
Adrian makes the first. Hibbert coming back on. And along with DeJuan Summers, Macklin and Freeman to the bench for the Hoyas. So the 7-footer has returned. Hibbert, who had just an astonishing block in the first half. Well, I think even some of the Georgetown fans were convinced he committed a foul on it, but the replay indicated it was all ball. It was as beautifully done as you can.
Yeah, a great non-call, too. I mean, sometimes in those circumstances, what looks like a foul and isn't, you can hear a whistle. John Cal was in perfect position to make it.
A one-point game. Wallace trying to build on that. Here's Ewing Jr. A whistle off the ball underneath with 13:37 to go. The pace has certainly slowed down. Both teams since halftime having difficulty getting into any offensive rhythm.
Well, this is what we expected defensively. A grind from both sides.
Hibbert, the big target, rolls to his right. Such a difficult shot to stop.
Yeah, and without the beat, you go right through the big man, which is what you should do.
Hibbert has 13.
So efficient. He doesn't take bad shots. He's unselfish. If he feels a double, he's going to distribute. That time he sends his one-on-one into the rolling hook, and Thabit gets off the bench.
Yeah, his numbers are actually down a little bit offensively from last year. But nobody with the Hoyas is the least bit worried.
Well, you know what? The beat just went to the scorer's table. George Planey thought again. They said, no, come on back here.
Adrian pushes out the pass to Price to three. Yes! The bottom of the net.
We thought their guards had to be special. We talked about it early in this telecast. Two quality guards in Dyson and Price. Wiggins off the bench.
Price, along with his 14, has 7 assists. Tied at 51. Georgetown being very methodical. Hibbert spins, drew a lot of contact there. He's fouled. As 4 blue shirts went flying at him. Back to the Price three.
A.J. Price, when he entered, Coach Calhoun thought he would be another in a line of great guards. He struggled, as you mentioned earlier in this telecast. He's a different player this season. Much more confident, much more poised.
So Hibbert to the line. He's 3 out of 5 at the stripe. Mandelgov was the man who committed the foul.
That's why I don't think that's a bad foul. We talked about his liability or his difficulties at the free throw line. Hibbert just 60%. And he is a big part of why their team percentage is down. He gets the majority of free throws, about 56.
Hasheem Thabit back in with those 3 fouls, so keep an eye on that. Hibbert gets Georgetown back on top by 2.
And I think what you'll see Coach Blaney do is maybe get him minutes and stretches and then give him a rest and stretches. Just try to manage his minutes to keep him out of the position to foul.
Defensively, more than offensively, that really hurts to have him out of the game as he's averaging 4 blocks per game. 12:15 left here in the second half. 18 seconds on the shot clock. College basketball presented by Alltel Wireless from our nation's capital. Dave O'Brien and Doris Burke with you. Verizon Center is jam-packed for this matchup between Georgetown, number 8 in the country, and the UConn Huskies.
See, Georgetown is going to sit on that three-point line. They do not defend out beyond that.
Shot clock down to 2. Price sees it. His three-pointer won't go. And Georgetown has the board. So they whittled it down, but got a long, long 3 that would not fall. Hibbert hits the deck. No whistle there. Ewing Jr. slicing in, and the foul on Adrian with 11:44 to go. Hibbert thinking there should have been a whistle somewhere. He never heard one. Rough here as Hibbert hit the deck. And this is John Thompson giving the refereeing crew a little piece of his mind about what was not a foul.
Well, 11th consecutive year, that rough play, particularly in the low post, is a point of emphasis. Now, I love the no call. John Cal is in great position, obviously, as an official. And he's like, get up, get up, get up. So I think what you're seeing is an official with a feel for the game, not wanting to put Thabit, who's a star, on the bench. I like the no call. John Thompson III clearly would not agree with me. From a fan perspective, you want the best players on the floor.
Yep, Thabit playing with 3 fouls. Ewing Jr. to the line now for Georgetown. And Doc Rivers' son, Jeremiah, will come onto the floor. And very much a family affair when you're talking about Georgetown basketball. Fathers and sons everywhere. Doc enjoying a little bit of downtime, a little bit of relaxation, I guess you could say, although maybe watching your kids play athletics at this level is the most stressful thing there is.
He looks pretty relaxed.
He does.
Right, your stomach is churning, especially when he's in the game. Is he going to play well? Is he going to make a mistake? It's a tight game. I'd be dying personally.
Yeah, he's averaging almost 20 minutes a game, Jeremiah is. He gets regular minutes with the Hoyas. Connecticut with the ball here.
See how Georgetown, they're not going to extend their defense. They don't want to get too spread out defensively, so they're going to come about to that three-point line and not come any further.
The beat, shot clock at 7. Robinson trying to get someone free for a decent shot. Here's Adrian, and that's too strong. Rebound tapped out. Wiggins looking for the save. Did a great job out of the scorer's table, and a fresh shot clock for the Huskies.
So what do we say? They had one offensive rebound in the first half. In the second, I believe that's number 3. It might even be more.
Adrian, the kick out for Wiggins. He was Mr. Offense in the first 20 minutes. Shot clock again down to 15. A long defensive stop here for Georgetown. Wiggins finds Price. He'll shoot it. Got it. A three-pointer on the money.
Yeah, I keep stressing this poise, execution against Georgetown. You're going to have to be solid mentally and physically.
This is one of those hang-around games if you're the Huskies. Down 9 a couple of times. On a few occasions, it looked like Georgetown was going to put the pedal in the metal and make this a 10 or 12 or 15-point game. It has not happened. Somebody
besides the coaching staff in Connecticut has got to convince these kids that they can play. This game would do it.
Hibbert backing down. Swatted away by Thabit. That's his third block. In again. That one's swatted away by Robinson, but they're going to count that basket. That one will be worth 2.
Well, remember, the rule is the goaltend is if it's on the way down. I honestly going to tell you, I can't tell from that angle. I mean, I don't know.
I thought when it was swatted away it was goaltending, but the first block by Thabit was beautifully timed.
Connecticut averages 9 blocks. They've got 6.
2-point lead for the Hoyas. From the corner, in and out, jump shot by Robinson. Sapp feeding Summers. Another block by Thabit. He had 10 earlier this season against Notre Dame. Quickly turned over, and look at Wiggins from behind to pluck it away from Sapp.
Gotta love the hustle on both sides, and Thabit a menace.
And Price trying to maintain his dribble, knocked away from him.
You sense Connecticut rushing a bit here. They understand where they are, and so the press, the want to do something special. Thabit is a terror, folks, and not only does he block shots, he makes you think about things.
Averaging 4 blocks per game, and he has 4 in this one. Inside, and the foul from behind. Thabit this time getting offensive. And he'll be shooting. Comparison of the 2 7-footers today and what they've done to this point. Obviously, Hibbert is way out in front offensively.
Yeah, and again, Thabit is 2 years younger in terms of his class, senior to sophomore. He has had nowhere near the repetitions that Hibbert has had. Thabit comes from Tanzania. Before he arrived at Connecticut, he had a total of 3 years basketball experience.
And at the line, well, he's up significantly from last year, 68%. Last year, pretty dismal at 51%, so he's really worked on that.
He's a more confident offensive player than he was a year ago. He knew he was a defensive presence. He's worked. His coaching staff at Connecticut, they will take you from a certain level and make you a better basketball player.
That's 5 points. Both big men, by the way, are playing with 3 fouls. Wallace left open. Barely grazed the iron. Hibbert up high for the rebound. New shot clock here for Georgetown. Inside 9 minutes to play from the Verizon Center.
Really good pressure by Wiggins. Boy, he's playing hard.
Wallace's pass picked off by Robinson. Wiggins wants to get it and go, working on Price. He lays it up and in, and the UConn Huskies.
So you have managed, without Dyson, your leading scorer, to go ahead and take the advantage. All because Wiggins has been aggressive, confident, assertive.
Connecticut in the lead. Their first lead since 23-22. Price cradling the rebound. The Huskies on the offensive attack. Great pass for Adrian to stuff it down. And it looks like Georgetown is going to take a timeout.
And they should. That is a rim run and a flat-out better job by Connecticut to beat them up the floor.
The Huskies are fired up. They have the number 8 team in the country on their heels right now. 59-56, Connecticut. Price picking up his 8th assist moments ago. They are cooking.
Play.
Well, UConn in the lead, surging to a 59-56 advantage. So right now, party time for the Huskies. I'm not quite sure that's the case with Jim Calhoun inside that locker room feeling as sick as Jim is right now. And we wish him a quick recovery from that intestinal problem that has kept him off the sidelines today. But his team is playing very well right now.
I feel a heck of a lot better. We've talked about this being a signature win, a chance for Connecticut to reassert itself on the national stage. Get people besides their coaching staff telling them that they can play.
Well, they look like they can play with number 8 Georgetown. They have them in trouble. Summers, an ugly-looking shot, barely clanging off the side of that backboard. Here's Wiggins again, out in front. Dyson back on the floor with his 4 fouls. He lays it in, and the Huskies are attacking.
Last 5 or 6 minutes, does it not feel like Connecticut is the team that's been more aggressive, more assertive, beating Georgetown to loose balls or any tie-ups?
On a 7-zip run, Connecticut is. Hibbert. And a foul as Summers got tied up on his way to the iron. He'll go to the line to shoot 2 with 7:10 showing on the clock. And another timeout. UConn thinking about an upset here today in our nation's capital. College basketball games, I mean, from Monday through the weekend, just off the charts all next week.
Well, look at this. Georgetown shooting 29% here in the second half after a 50% first half. So the defense has tightened up a bit. I don't think their shot selection has been great. I think when they have gotten close, John Thompson, the third's team, when they've gotten close to the rim, what has Connecticut done? They've put them at the free throw line. They know they're a poor free throw shooting team. And I said all day, the word for Connecticut was poise. They had to be poised offensively against a grinding defensive team. Well, they've only got 6 turnovers in the game. Marty Aronoff, a pleasure to have him sitting alongside of us here as the stat guy.
He is only the best, and Price with 17 points to lead the way for UConn today. But this man, Wiggins, has given them great energy. Turns it over there as he forced the pass into the paint. Freeman giving it up. Here's Sapp. That's off the front of that iron. Hibbert tried to follow. Back up on the other side of the rim. Now knocked away by Adrian. And it's a 3-on-2. Price dishing for Dyson, and he went airborne. Got it back. Oh, how about the stop on the other end of the court by Sapp. And a nice job to get the lay-in, and UConn just keeps on coming at you. Adrian with 16.
Hustle and toughness from both ends, but how about the stick-to-itiveness and persistence of Connecticut?
63-58, back on top by 5. Hibbert, that hook shot has been there all day for him, but not this time.
And that is as soft as you can do it, folks. Lay it on the rim, give it a chance. They work so hard on those shots. So a test for Mr. Thompson and his troops. They were on the road at Alabama. We're down with 4 minutes to play and pulled it out. Can they do it here?
Dyson stolen away by DeLon Summers, picked him clean.
And the one thing those Alabama players said about Georgetown is they were never rattled. Their poise was never disrupted. They don't seem shaken up here. Can they score it?
The Final Four appearance will do that. It's a team experienced a lot of very close games and tough wins. Freeman's 3. Yes! Austin Freeman, the freshman.
Plays beyond his years. There's a calm, a poise, a presence about Freeman. He does not get rattled. Never makes a mistake more than once.
Has 10 points today. Connecticut on top, 63-61. 5 minutes left. Adrian with a tough catch up against Hibbert. Oh, that's a difficult shot for Jeff Adrian, having a big second half.
I tell you what, he's your most experienced guy. He's the upperclassman as a junior. And he has responded in the post on the offensive end.
Coming off a big game against St. John's, and he has 18 points and 5 rebounds today.
2-3 zone here by Connecticut.
The dump down low for Hibbert. Backing down off the beat. He blocked the first one. Batted away. Here comes UConn again. A 3-on-1. Dyson will finish with authority. The tomahawk slam. Goodness gracious. 67-61.
You can tell what a defensive presence gives you. It turns from defense to offense in a hurry for Connecticut.
Jerome Dyson with a monster slam. That one won't fall for Summers. And everything is falling UConn's way now. Less than 4 minutes to play, and they lead by 6.
Now Georgetown playing a man-to-man defense. They come out of that zone. Three-guard lineup on the floor for Connecticut. Wiggins, Price, and Dyson, all of whom can score the basketball.
And all with quick hands. Shot clock at 7. Price with Wallace on him. High glass shot, went for that glass, didn't touch anything. Tapped away, it'll go back over to UConn with 2 seconds on the shot clock. They have grabbed the momentum, and a spectacular play by Dyson opens up a 6-point lead for high-flying Connecticut.
Assistant coach Patrick Sellers took his guards aside before the game and said, we get underneath 4 minutes. You guys have got to be solid with the basketball. You're going to make good decisions. So let's go inside the play. Brought to you by Lincoln. Defense turns to offense. The beat with the block. And the guards out and running, and a score putting some pressure on the number 8 team in the country.
In transition, too, just killing Georgetown over the last 3 or 4 minutes. 6 fast break points in the last 4 minutes. Off the inbounds, batted away, and could not get the shot off in time. A shot clock violation. They had just 2 to get off a shot. 67-61 Connecticut, and George Blaney leading the charge here today for UConn. The assistant, longtime lieutenant of Jim Calhoun. Coach Calhoun is sick right now. He is inside the locker room. He was unable to get out to the sideline today. You know he must really be ailing if that is the case. He was sick to his stomach all of last night. Missed games before, though, and Blaney has been successful in that role in Jim Calhoun's absence.
Well, I'm sure this tight game is good for Coach Calhoun's stomach. I'm sure it's making it feel a little bit better.
Well, the crew wants to see the clock on that last possession, that last shot by the Connecticut Huskies.
You know, I didn't know if it was a shot clock violation. I thought John Cal was pointing to the end line, almost as if the inbounder had stepped in, and in doing so, he touched the ball. That was the violation.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's what he did do. Yep.
So I'm not sure if the clock was what he was referencing there.
You're going to take one more look at this. A 6-point lead for the Huskies.
Shot clock, game clock starts as soon as it's touched.
And so Cal pointing to that line. 3:25 now they've put on the clock. So they've added 3 seconds. So after the violation, that clock's kept on running. So they've added 3 seconds here to 3:25.
So let's see, does Georgetown go through Hibbert here against this Connecticut zone?
Hibbert on the high post. There's Ewing Jr. was very impressive in the first half. Austin Freeman, yes! What a terrific touch. And just a baby, the freshman, the McDonald's All-American, burying that one. 13 threes made by Georgetown today.
Such a good set on the offensive end. Georgetown so well schooled. They overload the zone, got good movement off the ball. Freeman cuts behind the defense.
UConn by 3. 2:45 to go. On the run, here's Freeman. He wants to do it himself, and it's knocked away by Connecticut, but that'll be on the line, and it'll be Georgetown ball here.
Terrific job to contest without fouling by A.J. Price and allow your bigger guys. Look at Robinson's athleticism. A guy with that much talent has got to produce more. And I know I've been after Stanley Robinson. I just think the kid's got a wealth of ability. It's almost like his personality hurts him.
Wallace can't find the range. Hitter controls the board. New shot clock here for Georgetown. 9 blocks on the day, by the way, for Connecticut. They've been so very good at that over the years under Jim Calhoun.
Just terrific defensively. Great presence.
Sack, dead on. A three-pointer, and Georgetown, firing from downtown, has tied it at 67. And this one is turned into a dandy, coming up on 2 minutes left.
You made the point earlier. They've got tons of experience in big games.
Dyson, the sophomore, to the baseline. Quick pass. Thabit is fouled. Wanted badly to jam that in. 1:55 to go.
Just great patience by Georgetown, working against that zone. Ball rotates, reverses sides, and they get an uncontested shot. I just want to make the point about Robinson, Stanley Robinson, by personality hurting him. He's a laid-back kid. He's a Southern guy, and he's an unselfish guy. But physically, he's got such terrific talent.
Thabit, who struggles at the line, has made 1 of 2 today.
A drastic improvement. That is why it's so important. Guy that really struggled from the line last season.
At 51%. He's up to a very respectable 68. He has 6 points, 5 block shots today. And he makes them both. And it looks like he's been making them all his life. 69-67, Connecticut. Freeman wanting Hibbert. Ewing Jr. lays it up. Thabit. And they will count that.
Well, I don't think
nope,
so. I think they're going to call a walking violation on Ewing, and it's the right call.
That was the call. So on the turnover, take another look. Yeah, as he was backing in, struggled to maintain possession as he cradled it to his chest. And the traveling violation. And some intimidation certainly at work there by Thabit. And a timeout with 1:37 left, and this one tied at 69. Well, next week will definitely be a week of impact on ESPN and our family of networks. It's a chance to see 9 of the top 12 teams in premier conference action. You'll also have a chance to track and see 3 of the remaining unbeatens. It's a tremendous slate of games, and for these Georgetown Hoyas, Monday night is their first ranked conference road test. Here, all knotted up at 69 with 1:37 remaining. Doris Burke and Dave O'Brien within, not to mention Doc Rivers in the house watching his son Jeremiah for the Hoyas. We understand that Vandy is in trouble in their game against Kentucky today. And that game is in overtime, so the Commodores may be going down today as well.
Yeah, interesting use of the timeout here by Connecticut. I think that they understand the value of this possession, how important it is. Put a lot of pressure on Georgetown if you can convert offensively.
Price on the drive, trying to bank it in. Left that one well short, tied up on the baseline. They'll go the other way. And the Georgetown fans just delighted with the defensive stop.
Yeah, and I think that was Price on the line. This is important because it looked like John Cal was just saying he was out of bounds. Okay, it's Georgetown basketball. Possession arrow is still pointing in Georgetown's way should there be another tie-up.
So all tied up at 69. Just to go back to the score, tied at 69, they indeed did count the basket on a goaltend. On the other end of the floor, there was no traveling violation there. Ewing got credit for the field goal. So just to clear that up, the referees again going back to the monitor. All evened up at 69 as the Hoyas and the Huskies battle it out here on a Saturday in the Big East. 1:20 left.
So is that one that you were talking about where we thought Ewing traveled? They counted that basket?
Everybody else thought it was a traveling violation, but the beat also up there high to swat it away. So this one tied at 69.
So possession arrow again stays in Georgetown's favor. 3 timeouts for Georgetown remaining, 2 for Connecticut. And again, let's see if they run through Hibbert. Freeman has had the hot hand, but they enter the ball into the post first, and then Freeman has gotten shots off that.
Freeman has shown that ability to shoot the ball from distance. Ewing Jr. on high now. Here's Freeman. Too strong that time. Adrian cradling the rebound.
Man-to-man for Connecticut, and the guards from Connecticut have consistently beaten Georgetown off the dribble. Price in particular, Georgetown man-to-man, maybe a high ball screen.
Tied at 69. UConn with the ball. 42 seconds left. 17 on the shot clock, and that's going to go around and out. Sack comes away with it for the Hoyas.
About a 2-second differential here. So yeah, and John Thompson III is going to use one of those 3 timeouts.
Timeout Georgetown. 31.3 on the game clock. 29 seconds on the shot clock for Georgetown.
And what this allows you to do is basically provide a situation for yourself if you're Georgetown to, at worst, go to overtime. You want 2 looks at it if you can get it. But you are taking this thing as far down on that clock as you possibly can. You want an opportunity to tip if you can get it. So I expect them to spread it out, Dave. I expect them to maybe get a post touch, but that will only be after taking some time off the clock outside.
John Thompson, of course, coached this Georgetown program to prominence and national title in 1985. Last time that 1984, and last time they were in the Final Four, 1985, until last year when his son got them there. Georgetown will have the ball here. We've got time. Let's check in now with Reese Davis back in the studio. Reese.
All right, guys, a barn burner in Rupp Arena, Vanderbilt and Kentucky. Joe Crawford, a wild off-balance shot, but the freshman Patrick Patterson there to put it back. Cats trying to hang on up to 21 seconds to go.
And we are back for the last 31 seconds. Well, maybe it's the last 31 seconds. And all tied up 69-69. UConn and Georgetown. George Blaney taking over the reins today for Jim Calhoun, who is sick.
And we showed you before going to studio, John Thompson Sr. or Jr., I guess he's really known as, up there. We talked about Doc Rivers. It wasn't easy on him. I don't think Coach Thompson could look. He knows this is a big one for his son. And as expected, UConn man-to-man. And look, they'll spread it out here. And before they get a shot, don't be surprised to see Hibbert touch it.
Game clock at 15, shot clock at 13. Now down to 9 on the shot clock. Hibbert way outside. DeJuan Summers. Shot clock down to 3. Here's Hibbert. Yes! A three-pointer! You gotta be kidding me! Roy Hibbert! 7'2" senior launching a three-pointer with the shot clock dwindling down, and with 2.7 left, the Georgetown Hoyas have the lead 72-69.
I think this is about the last thing we expected. We expected him to touch it, but not shoot a 3. The beat was not going to go out and guard, not expecting this kind of shot. Look at how much space he's got. The beat is down, wanting to be in help position to block a shot, and Hibbert makes him play. He had hit 1 3 all year. He was 1 for 1 coming into today.
And he had missed one earlier, but he nails the big one Certainly not his game, to put it mildly, but look at number 55, Roy Hibbert, come through from 3.
Confidently pulling the trigger. In fact, actually had his feet inside of the 3, gets back, gets him set. What a transformation for this guy.
Now they have put time back on the clock from 2.7. They've added time to 4 seconds left.
Stops as soon as it goes through the net. And so that's a good job by the officials. Now Connecticut's got 1 left, and I would not be surprised to see them enter it, get it across half court, and maybe use another one.
Is there enough time to do that? Take that time out?
It depends on where they catch the first pass. Otherwise, it's a catch by one of the guards and an attack off the dribble. Now, obviously, Georgetown, you're giving up everything but a 3.
Roy Hibbert making a 3-pointer for the 2nd time in his career. He's a senior, but it gives Georgetown a stunning lead of 72-69. 4 seconds left. Connecticut with the ball.
Georgetown only has 16 fouls. The next one would be a 1-on-1 situation for Connecticut. Now, you got different philosophies. Some coaches, they're just going to guard and not foul. But you can't, if you hit, Dave, you wouldn't allow them a chance at a 3.
Connecticut takes timeout here. 4.2 seconds now on that clock. They have adjusted it yet again. 4.2. The Hoyas looking to escape an upset at the hands of the UConn Huskies, and they have the lead by 3.
2 timeouts for Georgetown remaining.
Coming up, the 2007 World Series of Poker. As soon as we finish up, well, there's been a terrific ball game, and Connecticut hoping to force an overtime here, trying for the desperation 3 to force it to OT.
And the farther up you can make this initial catch, the easier that 3-point opportunity becomes.
Jeff Adrian to inbound. No pressure on him from Georgetown. 4.2 seconds remaining. Adrian into Jerome Dyson. He fumbles it, flips it back, and that's how this one is going to end. Connecticut never gets a shot off, and Georgetown wins it in a most unusual fashion with 7'2" Roy Hibbert nailing a clutch 3. And Georgetown is now 13-1. They survived the upset scare today.
Second time this season they have been tested. They did not have the lead inside of 4 minutes, and there was never a blink from anyone, from John Thompson III or his players. They responded as you would expect.
You mentioned how the Alabama side looked into the eyes of Georgetown in the game earlier this season and said they don't flinch. Well, Hibbert didn't flinch, that's for sure.
Yeah, Roy Hibbert is a guy who's skilled with the basketball. Only his 2nd 3-point attempt of the day, 3rd on the season, and he's 2 for 3, folks. The biggest one there.
With what turned out to be 4.2 seconds on the clock. So our final score, Georgetown 72, Connecticut 69. Coming up next, it's the 2007 World Series of Poker presented by Milwaukee's Best Light. Tune into ESPN News for our post-game extra for more on this one. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For Doris Burke, I'm Dave O'Brien. Thanks for joining us as we go back to the studio. And our man, Reese Davis.